Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. The deadly conflict between Iran and Israel entered its sixth day on Wednesday, with both sides widening their attacks. Now, Tehran has claimed to have fired hypersonic Fatah 1 missiles at Israel in the latest round of overnight strikes, hours after Donald Trump demanded the Islamic Republic's unconditional surrender. Now, the US president insisted that Washington has played no part in Israel's bombing campaign, but also warned Iran that his patience is wearing thin. Now, what everyone has seen, Israeli warplanes also targeted the Arch for Iran's capital before dawn on Wednesday, after the military issued a warning on social media for civilians in an area known as District 18 to evacuate. Iranian news website said Israel was attacking a university linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guards in the east of the capital. The Israeli military also said two barrages of Iranian missiles were launched towards Israel in the first 2 hours of Wednesday morning, and explosions were heard over Tel Aviv. So, amidst this call by Trump for an unconditional support, the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, also has put out some tweets. And the most significant one, of course, where he says that we must give a strong response to the terrorist Zionist regime. We will show the Zionists no mercy. The war is still on. This is what the message from Ayatollah Khamenei is. So, which way is this Iran and Israel war really headed to? Can Trump really force Iran to surrender, or will America, does it look likely that it's going to join the war against Iran? And how will the geopolitical dynamics change as far as the positioning of the various countries is concerned, whether it's Russia, whether it's China, or whether it is America? Joining me this evening is the Dr. Aftab Kamal Pasha, International Affairs expert and diplomat. So thank you so much for joining. We have Sanjay Kapoor, International Affairs expert, veteran journalist. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for joining. And we have K.S. Dakshin Murthy, International Affairs expert and consulting editor to the Federal. Thank you so much, Dakshin, for joining. And I'll begin with Dr. Pasha. Dr. Pasha, how do you see the things unfolding as far as this Israel and Iran war is concerned? And now, with the details coming of how Tehran has fired hypersonic Fatah 1 missiles, and this has become a big talking point now on the social media.
Yes, yes, I view this as limited escalation. The Israelis, of course, used over 200 fighter jets in the initial onslaught of shock and awe Friday, and on Saturday, Sunday, they were much less. And now it is pinpointed targets, because I think Israel is running out of the targets. They had identified key targets, that is the nuclear facilities at Tehran, Natanz, Isfahan, and Fordo. And they seem to have attacked, but according to sources, it has done superficial damage to these nuclear installations. But deep down the mountains, over 600 feet, this appears to have not done any critical harm to the nuclear facilities. But yes, Iran has suffered destruction apart from the scientists and the army generals, both the newest who has been appointed. Many production facilities appear to have taken a direct hit. But from independent sources, the Iranians had prepared themselves for this onslaught, either from Israel or jointly with the United States. So they had put up many decoy military production sites, radar sites. Out of the 38 the Israelis claim, at least 18 seem to be those fake sites which Israel includes to have successfully destroyed. So this is on the Iranian side. Although the human civilian casualties has been quite huge, the number of injured being wheeled into the hospitals, it's continuing every day. We see in hospitals across the country, Iranians suffering grievous injuries. I don't know if the Israelis are using cluster bombs also, but many more people seem to be injured in the attacks which Israel is carrying out. On the other hand, the Iranians who are not using their air force, just the missiles, cruise and ballistic missiles. What is surprising about Iranian retaliation? Because it was Israel which started this unprovoked attack on Iran, claiming that it is building nuclear weapons, which it has denied, which Tulsi Gabbard, the American NIA chief, also has confirmed, which Trump seems to be rubbishing in his recent interview, because she said she doesn't care about her assessment, which shows his utter contempt for his own top officials. Nevertheless, the Iranians have identified key installations. Mind you, I am highlighting only the military targets which Iran has bombed. They have not extensively bombed the civilian targets as the Israelis have done in Tehran and other cities. Mossad headquarters and the Weizmann Institute, Research Institute, is a premier institution. Along with this, the vast warehouse depot near Tel Aviv, where American and NATO weapons are unloaded and stored, that has been hit. Haifa refinery has been hit. Two gas platforms of the Leviathan in the Mediterranean have been destroyed. Plus, the Ministry of Defense, Economy, and one airbase, along with attack in the near the Dimona reactor in Negev. These are very important targets. I don't know how the Iranians were able to obtain such pinpointed intelligence, because the Mossad headquarters was located in a heavily civilian area to camouflage their activities, which is well known for global operations. This seemed to indicate that, like the Iranians who are collaborating with Mossad, many Israelis also seem to be collaborating with Iranian intelligence. So both the foes seem to be getting first-rate intelligence about the locations, and more importantly, the targeted destruction of these Israeli facilities has not only shattered the myth of invincibility of Israel, but also the accuracy and sophistication of the Iranian missiles. That too penetrating the four layers of air defense. First is the uh, United States, which has at least 12 bases in this region. They are actively involved in neutralizing Iranian missiles. Secondly is the Jordanians, who have been provided a fairly good anti-missile system. Then, of course, the Iron Dome, David Sling, Patriot. I mean, you have a whole lot of defense system which Israel has been provided and the United States has. In spite of this, my own assessment from all the sources is that at least 80% of the Iranian missiles have been neutralized. And the destruction which Israel has seen, maybe from 18 to 20% of the Iranian missiles which have penetrated this four-layer security parameter put in place. So, you see, it is the Israeli destruction in Iran is quite extensive, but it has not shaken the regime. It has not led to the popular upheaval or revolt of the people which they were expecting. And the traffic seems to be normal in all the cities. I've been monitoring day in and day out. People are going to offices normally, and life seems to be normal. There's no power cut or blackout. Internet is slow, I'm told, but otherwise Iran is functioning normally. Whereas in Israel, there has been blackout and power cuts and long queues for fuel at many petrol stations, and people are showing less attendance in the businesses and on the roads, so on and so forth. Although the Israeli military claims to have de-escalated in their siren warning system, but nevertheless, people are scared that it may be fatal if they go out, given the lethal nature of Iranian missiles. So there is, Iran says it is just the opening starters,
Right.
and they have many more
No, but
sophisticated missiles which they
yes,
will use.
yes. No, Professor Pasha, now the biggest question to which now, Sanjay, I'll come to you, that Donald Trump has asked for an unconditional surrender. And looking at what Ayatollah Khamenei has tweeted, do you think that they will get into an unconditional surrender? Do you see the possibility of that happening? Or do you see the dynamics completely changing from here on?
You see,
I'm
Donald
No,
Trump is
no, Professor Pasha, I'm sorry. I'll come back to you again later. Let Sanjay speak now. Yes,
okay.
yes, Sanjay. Yeah,
sorry. I
yes.
think there is very little scope of the Iranians surrendering. I think with this living in a fool's paradise, if we think that his call will be enough to get Iranians to be on their knees and ask forgiveness for the crimes they may have committed or not committed. So I think it's very, very strange because I've traveled around in Iran and I see a certain amount of resentment towards the clergy, but they're all very nationalist. It's not that they want to give an impression of giving up everything for reason of supporting a government which is against the clergy. So I don't think it will happen anytime soon. And having said that, there is a possibility that whenever the boots are hit, they hit the ground. Whenever either the Americans come in or the Israelis come in at some stage, they may have a very fierce encounter. At the moment, you only have missile war which is going on, but you cannot occupy any place all the time. You have people also and the soldiers come move to the streets of a city and start taking over large territories. So that if that happens, then it's a possibility of things really going from bad to worse. And maybe I'm still very confident that despite whatever the call that might have been given, President Donald Trump will try to somehow go back to the negotiating table, somehow get Iran to sign a deal and prevent a war because he doesn't want to sully his record book because he wants to show that he's a president who likes to control war. Right? It may not have worked with India too, though, because you have a situation where Prime Minister Modi has come out very categorically that there was no mediation by the president. But you have to yet to hear President Trump's point of view again coming from White House, because he invited Mr. Modi for lunch to the White House, and he said he was busy. So if that is the case, then we'll see that Mr. Trump has lot to show up in terms of the peace that he wants to bring in. And if that happens, then it's a different ball game. Otherwise, you will go back to war, and it will be a very messy war because what Israel expects from US is bunker busters and other very dangerous arsenal being unveiled in front of the world, and that will cause a great amount of generational loss to this part of the world. Thank you.
Right. Okay, so Dakshin, there are also reports where I'm reading that satellite pictures have shown that U.S. Navy ships they are out of the Bahrain dock. Now, what does this indicate? Does it indicate that America is all set to join the war, or America will try and hold the things as they are, and they will still force or wait rather for Iran to surrender? What is the likelihood now? Do you see America now joining this escalation? You'll have to unmute. Dakshin, you're muted. Yeah.
From the beginning, this entire process of negotiation and Israel threatening Iran, the idea behind this entire exercise was to somehow neutralize Iran as far as its nuclear capability was concerned, right? So you had a situation where Trump initiated the discussion. They had 5 rounds of discussion, and Trump tried the US tried everything possible to arm twist Iran, and Iran did not bend to Trump's diktat. So then you had Israel coming into the picture. So it's a very well planned attempt by both the US and Israel to somehow subjugate or subdue Iran. And so in this process, What has happened now is we are actually in the second phase. Now, the first phase was negotiation, and the sixth round was still pending when Israel attacked Iran. So, Israel attacking Iran is the second phase. And then, contrary to expectations, Iran retaliated, and they've retaliated very ferociously. And it does not seem like the Islamic regime, of Iran is going to quickly give in and say, okay, now you do whatever you want. It's not happening that way. So the third phase is just about to begin. What is the third phase? The third phase is the US entering the picture directly. All this while, the US has been saying, the Trump has been saying that they're not been involved in the bombing. But of course, everybody knows that the US is very much with Israel on all these issues, and particularly Trump. So what they're now unfolding is the third phase. The third phase is where the US comes into the picture more directly and will make an attempt to threaten Iran, and kind of provide a picture or project a picture to Iran, saying that if they continue to be obdurate, it's going to cause more harm, and it's going to be painful for Iran. So this is the third phase. So it's a continuation of this arm twisting that is happening. It's just getting more intense. So if Iran does not, Iran continues to defy even the third phase, then the US will have no choice but to enter the war more directly. But then this is going to take a while. So we are just now in the third phase, where there's massive posturing, and also an ability, also the ships are coming in, and then, Trump is also, his statements are becoming more sharp. And, so, I
Right.
mean, we are in the beginning of the third phase. I mean, I put it that way.
Right. So you're saying that this is the beginning of the third phase. Professor Pasha, I'll come to you now. And if you could put it out briefly, that looking at Ayatollah Khamenei's belligerence, and he's very insistent when he says that the war is on. And very clearly, I was looking at his tweet where he says we must give a strong response to the terrorist Zionist regime. We will show the Zionists no mercy. So very clearly, the tweet shows that Iran is in no mood to back down, despite the fact that Trump has said that we know where exactly Khomeini is hiding, but we won't kill him. And then he talks about the unconditional surrender. What do you think now Iran's next move could be? And in terms of geopolitical positioning of the countries, is Iran garnering support from Russia, from China? Because many people are saying that we will see this troika together, where Russia, China, and Iran might come together and they will try and isolate America. Now, is that possible?
My own reading is that, you see, both now directly American president and Khamenei, they are indulging in high voltage rhetoric. You see, Benjamin Netanyahu has handed over the football team field to Donald Trump by saying that we have done the initial opening, and now Iran wants to kill the Jews and carry out Holocaust, and you are our protector, and they have plans to assassinate you. So America is now will be safe only in your hands. So we don't hear much about the rhetoric from the defense minister or himself. So now, after holding 90-minute marathon National Security Council meeting, Trump he called up Netanyahu, and he decided, I think, to send J.D. Vance and Steve Witkoff to Israel. So, and also his very hawkish statement to Iran to surrender and have complete control over Iran's airspace, so on and so forth. This is all for publicity, and also his decision to send more fighter bombers to this area, like he did to month or 2 months ago to Digo, much fanfare, and then started the talks with Iran. So this has been his style to, even in the tariff war, he said he will impose on Canada, Mexico, European Union, and BRICS nations. But then immediately he paused. So this is his posturing is his style. So in this also he is threatening, using very threatening language against Iran, and perhaps appearing, merciful to Khamenei, that for the moment we will spare you, and you should not attack our bases or soldiers, servicemen, or the
But
civilians.
Dr. Pasha, do you
No,
see the
can I
possibility
complete?
of,
Can I
yeah,
complete your question?
okay,
So,
okay.
what is happening is, behind the scene, he has Donald Trump has also made it clear that he is not interested in a temporary ceasefire, but a permanent agreement to end this issue. So, behind the scene, negotiations are going on. Uh, I think Russia also is involved in one way or the other, and Iran also. There is pressure from, I believe, from Russia on Iran to continue what they were planning to have in Oman, the fifth round of talks. So perhaps Iran is putting the condition that immediate ceasefire should be there, then we'll start the negotiations in Oman. So that is likely to take shape unless Israel and Netanyahu again derail the process like they did on Friday by attacking Iran just 2 days before the fifth round of talks. Although in retrospect, Donald Trump had to say that Netanyahu informed him and uh, he was aware of the attack. So there is some back channel diplomatic game is also being played, and Iran has indicated from the sources I have contacted that it is prepared to go an extra mile on two contentious issues. That is the axis of resistance. It is willing to restrain them only to the extent that they will not attack American bases or hurt or injure American personnel or civilians associated with the base. And secondly, they are also willing to consider that their missiles would not target in future the American bases in this region as a sort of double guarantee to the GCC states for their stability and also to the American presence here, which is lifeline for these Gulf states. So these two seem to be in the pipeline, which has made Donald Trump little enticing. But how far these negotiations will go depend upon uh, Netanyahu's behavior. If he is willing to accept this under the pressure which he is from US, and also from Russia on this issue, probably he might consider that whatever he has achieved over Iran is the maximum he can go. He cannot persuade the United States and Donald Trump to involve on his behalf or Israel's behalf in a big way. Because I would like to remind here also that Donald Trump, while his campaigning was going on, he made it clear that he doesn't want to make America involved in any other wars. He would lead America in peace and make America great and golden era and all of that thing
Right.
which have become
All right.
clear. So in that way, just one line. So in that way, I think Donald Trump is pushing Israel hard enough through Witkoff and J.D. Vance like he did on Gaza ceasefire on 19 January. And he's using his good relations with Putin to put Russian pressure on Iran to be more forthcoming.
Right. And I think you rightly pointed out, Dr. Pasha, but Sanjay, coming to you last night, and in fact, last late evening, we were reading that Trump is also thinking of sending either J.D. Vance or Witkoff to negotiate. Now, the possibilities of negotiation uh, increase from here on, or we see a further escalation, because I'm also reading reports where these human rights group have come out with a number of casualties which have taken place. Now, the Israeli strikes on Iran have killed at least 585 people and wounded 1,326 others. And this is according to a human rights group which has said on Wednesday. And this is, of course, the casualties have been rising, but consolidated figure now, I think, I don't know if it is for the first time, but I'm reading here the number of casualties so far. Then the Washington-based human rights activist offers the figures which covers the entirety of Iran, and it said of those dead, it identified 239 civilians and 126 security force personnel being killed. So this is the breakup, the kind of breakup which is coming further. So again, the questions arise whether we'll see a negotiation or a further escalation. Yes, Sanjay. You'll have to unmute. Sanjay, you're muted. Yes.
I said, to give another spin to this entire issue, what the regime change component of the entire move, the space of is trying to do is to wheel in the old king of Iran, the son of the king of Iran. And he's the one who's given a statement also where he's saying that he's ready to take over and all that. So I personally feel that things are not over till they're over, and Israel will not reconcile very much to whatever may be the endeavor of the government of the United States of America. Will try to see that they will keep the pressure on and have a puppet regime very similar to what you have in neighboring Russia. In Syria, we didn't realize that what kind of endeavor had been put in. You had the Israelis helping out the president of Syria, who was also presented in front of Mr. Donald Trump in Qatar, when he went to Qatar or Saudi Arabia, one of the two countries where the president was presented. So I would not rule out something like this if they continue to put pressure on the Iranians. But as of now, if the war escalates, then I think it's going to get very bad, get worse. And despite the fact you have the Russians and the Chinese backing the Iranian regime, but I don't think they have what it takes to put pressure on the Americans. Americans are far more powerful, and with along with Israel, they will probably settle the issue soon enough. They'll keep the interest of the Russians, the Chinese alive, but they might just see the end of the regime if it becomes if goes beyond their control.
All right. So, Dakshin, what would you really now say towards the end as a concluding remark? The way things are unfolding between Israel and Iran, every night when we get up in the morning, the headlines have changed. Yesterday, when Donald Trump had cut short his visit, he did say that we are planning some bigger things. At least that's what he said. And now again, the things we don't know. Nobody can preempt as of now what's going to happen. So, what is the possibility like?
If you push aside all the rhetoric and just look at the power balance in the region, obviously it favors Israel because Israel is backed by the US, and it's so. And my own reading is that the Iranian leadership is pretty pragmatic. They know how far they can go, and I don't think they will push beyond a point where it can be counterproductive for Iran itself. And if the US enters and tries to directly take action against Iran, or if Israel increases its attack on Iran, so I don't think Iran will go to that extent. They would. My own reading is that they would back off at this stage tactically, but that tactical back off does not mean that they compromise on their own interests. They may even pause their nuclear program. But let me tell you that the Iranians will complete their nuclear program even if it's a little delayed. Iran is no pushover. It's a very, very strong country. It's a big power, and the Iranian people are very much with the government. So all these attempts at instigating any kind of regime change or a popular upsurge is simply out of the question, because Iran knows what the West is capable of. They have experienced that in the pre-1979 era, and they cannot forget it so easily. So my own reading is that this will not continue for too long. This escalation will not continue. Iran will give in tactically and then move forward that's how I see it. Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and watch, because every 2 hours, if you check on the international websites, there's something or the other which is happening, and every 2 hours the headlines are changing across the newspaper. So we'll have to keep a close watch. We'll have to end it here. Thank you so much to Dr. Pasha, Dakshin, Sanjay. Thank you very much for joining.